Here we go. Everybody, welcome Paradox of Sports, episode 12. We're excited because sports are back. We have learned in the last few days that Major League Baseball has decided they've agreed. The owners and the players have agreed on how they're going to get back to going. That's going to help because tonight we're going to speak with AT&T Sportsnet, Jenny Cavnar. Jack talks to her everything from the CSU Rams days to her days in San Diego, back to Denver, how all that happened. And Jack and I got a cool little segment we're going to do if you could. But first, Jack, not only are the big guys back to baseball, you are back on the diamond as well, correct?
Yeah. For a few weeks now, I've been practicing baseball with my team at Heaton Middle School on the eastern side of Pueblo.
So tell me about how did that work? Like that first practice when you came back, was there anything different about how you guys approached it compared to some of the stuff maybe you had been doing, say, last summer?
It was pretty similar. We just, like for a huddle, we stayed 6 feet apart and stuff.
Okay, so you're kind of doing your distancing there, but it's where you haven't seen your buddies and stuff. Are these kids that you go to school with, or how kind of like what's the dynamic of the team there?
It's basically a team that. So this year we got a crossover from a team that disbanded, and we got the good players from a team that wasn't really good, and we also got one of the top players on the team's friends on the team. And I started playing for the Express last year when I was in 4th grade. So.
Gotcha. So what age group is this that you're in then?
9 and 10-year-olds.
Got you. So you're on the older end now of this group of kids. It's always funner to be the older age than the younger age when you're going through baseball. So this is going to be kind of your fun year.
Yes.
Nice. So what's the schedule moving forward? How many weeks of practice do you guys have?
I believe that our first game will be July 12th. That's when the season starts. And our team so far is 0-6 because last year we were really good, but we lost all of our best players. So most of them went to 12U and stuff.
Got you. So then your games will start then here in a couple weeks. Where do you play them at?
Runyon Sports Complex.
Okay, cool. Well, that'll be fun. By July, it ought to be hot as hell down there, so it'll be good baseball weather. So we trying to think of anything. Oh, I wanted to ask you one of the things I saw today. They're talking about Undertaker's retired again. Is that real, or is this like the last 7 times he's retired? Like, is he done, or is he going to show up at Royal Rumble or WrestleMania or something again?
Well, with the Last Ride documentary, I believe that he's going to make a return. He's not exactly done. If he's like badly injured, he'll probably be done. But I see him returning again, maybe for the next WrestleMania 37. Where it goes Hollywood.
That's the one that's going to be at the big stadium there in LA.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I have not been watching that. I need to sit down. I might actually do that this weekend. Is sit down and watch that whole, I think it's on Vice, isn't it? I think that's where I've been seeing some updates. Or no, maybe Vice was
or that's where the Dark Side of the Ring is.
Yeah, the Dark Side of the Ring. I've seen some pretty crazy little clips off that too.
Yeah, that's the one that's on Vice, I believe.
Gotcha. So sports-wise, anything else big happen here in the last week?
Nothing really. The MLB has released their new play plan. They're going to have 60 games. 40 of them will be against their teams of their division. and they're gonna use minor league rules for extra innings, where a runner starts on second, and some other rules.
Okay.
And the thing I love the most is that they're using the DH in the NL. Finally.
Now, see, why do you like that so much? Because the old school purists, they're not going to be happy about that. So, what, as that younger generation of baseball fan, what is it that you like about seeing the DH in the NL?
Because I am not a big fan of pitchers hitting, and it's sad because they have a really low batting average because they're not used to hitting, unless you're Madison Bumgarner or somebody like that. But I like the transition of the DH into the NL because I don't know why they've kept it apart for so long while it's been in the AL. I don't know why they would just move it to the NL earlier, but finally they did that, and I'm now happy.
Nice. Well, we're going to speak with Jenny Cavnar a little bit. When we're done, we'll come back, and you and I will we'll take a look at what exactly the Rockies are going to have going here when we get going in July. So with that, if there's nothing really else to recap, no. We got a segment to do. I almost forgot that. Okay, so we were talking on something. We wanted to do something fun at the start that maybe some people can argue with us on. So
Yes.
we're going to start a little segment called If You Could. And we're going to pick different things each week. We will take suggestions from folks, put something in the comments. But if you could be a sports character from a movie, who would you be? We picked 3. So we have our top 3. Do you want me to go first, or you want to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay. Who is
All
your first one? Give me your first one. If you could be somebody from a sports movie, who would it be?
Probably that guy from the Naked Gun with the guy with the white hair and stuff, and he shoots lasers out of his watch and stuff like that.
I think that's Frank Drebin. Let me look.
Or is it like some guy named Enrico Palazzo? Or I don't even know.
Frank
I
Drebin.
forgot his name.
It's the old. Yeah, no. You're talking that guy. Well, I don't know if it's going to show up.
Move it this way.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that guy.
Yeah, that's Lieutenant Frank Drebin. He is the officer in that. So your first choice for somebody to be in a movie, a sports movie, would be Lieutenant Frank Drebin. It's played by Leslie Nielsen. Great movie. Great choice right there. So for mine, my number 3, I'm going to do mine in order of third to favorite. But for mine, if I could be in a movie, I would choose Roy McAvoy from Tin Cup. He was a former golf prodigy. He had a very little ambition, so he's my spirit animal. And he owned the driving range in West Texas, where he drank and hung out with his pal Romeo Pastor, who was played by Cheech Marin. Now, have you seen Tin Cup yet?
No.
Okay, I don't think that's quite in your age demographic yet, but here we'll give her about 3 years, and then we'll get together and watch Tin Cup. That's a good movie. So, but yeah, my first one that I could, if I could be a guy in a movie, it would be Tin Cup. Okay, so your second one. If you could pick somebody from a sports movie, who would your second choice be?
Probably Mr. Baseball. From the movie Mr. Baseball, because he plays in the Japan League, and I love any international baseball, especially baseball in Asia, because they aren't as techy with it. They're old school, and I'm a guy that's like in between. I like the old school stuff, but I also like the new stuff.
So you like old school baseball, but you think the DH should be in there?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, I'll buy that.
So
Now that is Tom Selleck, one of the, if not the greatest mustaches ever in the game.
Mhm.
So, my number 2 of a sports movie would be Norman Dale, who is the coach in Hoosiers, who moves to the small town in Indiana and takes them all the way and wins the state championship. He's got the drunk assistant coach, and they run the picket fence and all that. Have you seen Hoosiers?
I've heard of it, but I haven't seen it.
Okay, that's one you're ready for. We'll have to get that. We'll have to get that on the docket, and you're gonna have to sit down and watch it. Hoosiers is a great movie. So it's especially when basketball season comes around. You'll have to. We'll get the sweatbands, wristbands, get all that out, and we'll watch us some Hoosiers. So okay, your last one. Who was the your last person? If you could trade in a sports movie, who would you do it with?
Oh, this one is really, really hard. I am going to go with oh, this one's hard. If I was a girl, I would probably be Madonna in A League of Their Own.
That's a good choice.
Yeah. Overall, probably Babe Ruth or Babe the Jet Rodriguez in The Sandlot.
That's a good one too. That's a classic. That would be a fun one to have played and just been a part of and done that, because then you'd have had that to go on. You'd have had to go that'd have been there forever. So you're heavy baseball. Like, you're a big baseball movie guy then.
I don't really know any other sports movies. I haven't really watched any sports movies that aren't involved with baseball.
Well, you're getting to the age now. The ones I'm picking, you're a little young for still. So when you get there through your teenage years, late high school, and then even some of these you might have to wait till early college, but darn sure late high school, you'll watch and you'll enjoy. Because my number one choice of any character in a sports movie I'd like to be, it is Jackie Moon from Semi-Pro. He's a singer who used his profits from, he had a one-hit wonder called Love Me Sexy. And he took all that money and he bought a semi-pro basketball team in the ABA back in the 1976. So great movie. You're not quite old enough for that guy yet, but
Semi-Pro.
Oh, you have watched Semi-Pro?
Yeah.
Oh, then you're good. Then you can watch any of the 3 movies that I just told you about. So.
Oh yeah. Especially the one where he's fighting the bear. That is completely ridiculous.
That's the stuff they pulled, though, man. That's what you had to do to get people in the stands.
Yeah.
It's all about marketing, Jack. Okay. So we'll see. We'll come up with something for next week. Our next, if you could. I got a few ideas. If anyone has anything they want to see us try, put something in the comments. We'll put it on there on the list, and we'll do it. Anybody else, too, if you could be any sports character from a movie, drop it in the comments. Let us know who it is you would like to play. Bam, right there. So with that being said, should we get to our guest?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead and give her the good old Jack introduction.
Yes, introducing one of the voices of the Colorado Rockies, who currently works for AT&T Sportsnet, Jenny Cavnar.
It's good to be with you guys.
And as we do here, to get things started, we're going to throw it to our boy Jack.
All right. What was your experience like at CSU Fort Collins?
Yeah, it was awesome. I really had a great college experience, Jack. I think for me growing up, my dad was a high school baseball coach and I played a lot of sports. I was always around athletics and knew pretty early on that I wanted to work in athletics at some level. And going to Colorado State, it really afforded me that opportunity. I got to still play lacrosse. I played club lacrosse when I was there, but I also was majoring in communication and I was at the business school and just kind of got involved in a lot of different areas. I ended up on the campus television station and then also interning with a radio station in town that was the home of the Colorado State Rams. So I got to do some broadcasting for football games, basketball games when I was in school. So it was overall just such a great experience and set me up on a great path for what I wanted to do in my future.
When you talk about your majors, how did your majors relate to your current occupation?
Yeah, I think I got accepted in the business school pretty early, so I felt like I wanted to stick on that path and stayed with it. But I knew, in the back of my mind, when I really started wanting to do broadcasting, I knew I probably needed to either get into the journalism school or the communication school. And in all honesty, Jack, when I started to look at the journalism classes, it was a lot of writing and I just wasn't a great writer. I always said I was a great talker. So maybe I should go in the communication school, which is what I ended up doing. So I got a double major. And I really do think both benefited me so much because obviously in communication school, I got the skill set that I needed, but really internships counted so much for putting me on the right track. And then still getting a marketing degree. I mean, really marketing is a lot about sales, and selling yourself is a lot of what you have to do in the radio and TV business to try and get in and get a job. So I feel like they both really applied for me.
One of the things I've been pushing on Jack a little bit, talking to him, is the importance of writing, even with the speaking and the talking. And I would assume that, baseball is the hardest sport to do from the standpoint of there's so much dead air, and then there's so much live reads and stuff you do. So did you work on becoming a better writer to help with the on-air presentation, or what approach did you take there?
Yeah, I think any way you can practice your skills is so beneficial. And I really wish I would have done a lot more writing. I think the way that things have gone in our business, the more skills you have, the more marketable you are for a job. It's not just, you are put in a box of being a play-by-play person, or you're put in a box of being, a TV host or a sideline reporter, or you're a podcaster, or you're a blogger. Like, some people are all of those things. And again, the more skill sets you have, the more job opportunities there are. So I do think writing is really important. I think I kind of cut my teeth on that when I ended up more in the local markets, when I was writing my own copy for a newscast. I mean, most of my job now doing a live event, doing pre and post game shows around a live event, is we're scripted in the sense of we have a rundown, but we really don't have a lot of copy, a lot of reads. So a lot of the stuff we do, we've gone over, we have a format, but it's really off the top of our head as we're going through our half-hour show before the game.
So when you got your job with the San Diego Padres, what was it like working there?
Oh, it was so cool because for me, that really wasn't the path. I mean, I grew up where regional sports television was kind of new. I mean, Fox Sports at the time growing up here in Denver had the rights to the Rockies, but they didn't really have all the programming surrounding the live game. So they definitely had, the faces you saw on TV, the play-by-play team, but it wasn't like a huge deal to have the pre and post game show or have a sideline reporter, all this in-depth coverage around a team. So by the time I started working, it was more in the local news front of sports. And this opportunity came up in San Diego where it was really going to be the first time they were incorporating more of, an in-game reporter, which we still didn't really have, but really making this bigger push around the pre and post game shows. So when I interviewed for the job, it was like, oh, this is awesome. It's baseball. It's what I know. But it really wasn't until I'll never forget the very first game I did was the Dodgers and the Padres, which obviously they have a huge rivalry. And I'm sitting down on the field and I'm getting ready for my pregame hit. And it just was like all this energy and excitement. And I realized, like, this is what I was made to do in this industry, is be involved in baseball. So it felt like really kind of this dream come true that I didn't even know. I wasn't necessarily heading down that path. I always thought I would end up more in like the college football realm. So it was cool to end up in baseball. And then to end up in San Diego, it's such a fun town. It's a really neat town, a great tight-knit community. And it was just, I was in my 20s. It was a fun experience overall to kind of really cut my teeth in baseball at that point.
So when you moved to the Rockies, what was the move transitioning from the Padres to the Rockies like?
Yeah, well, it was really interesting because I actually, along with all of my colleagues in San Diego, we had just gotten laid off. So speaking of the business side of sports TV, our company, which was a local cable station called Cox Communications, they owned the rights to the Padres for years and years and years. And Fox Sports was coming in and creating a Fox Sports San Diego. So they outbid Cox, and we all got laid off as a result because we didn't have the rights to the Padres anymore. So at the time, I had transitioned, but I started working for Fox Sports in Los Angeles doing Anaheim Ducks hockey, and I was going to maybe end up doing some Dodger games. They'd kind of offered me a package to do like 60 Dodger games. And at the same time, my good friend Alana Rizzo, who used to be the sideline reporter here in Colorado, was leaving to take a job with MLB Network. And so she had called me really like the week I was probably set to make a decision on what to do, if I was going to move to Los Angeles for a job or not, and said, you know, I'm leaving. There's an opening. I know you would be more than welcome to be back here. Gave me the executive producer's number. And it felt like, again, the puzzle pieces just fit so awesome. It was my chance to come home to the place I grew up here in Denver and get to cover my hometown team. So that part was really exciting.
So when the Rockies were one of the Rockies players hit a home run, the fountains in the like the back area filled they blow. You came up with the phrase "fire up the fountains." What did you come up with that on the spot, or was it planned?
It was planned at that point. So I found out the day before I was calling my first Major League Baseball game that I would be filling in for Drew Goodman. So everyone had always joked with me, my colleagues, Corey Sullivan and Ryan Spielbergs and Jeff Houston, they were like, well, what's your home run call going to be? You have to have a home run call. And on that Sunday game, I remember Charlie Blackmon hitting a home run. And obviously I've noticed the fountains my whole life going to games and obviously broadcasting there. But just for some reason where the ball landed and in that moment, like they were so prominent to me. And I forget what I originally said, but I kind of blurted it out in the press box, and Corey Sullivan was sitting next to me and he was like, I think you just came up with your home run call. So we kind of did some spitballing on it, and I landed on Fire Up the Fountains, and I'm glad because it stuck and it's been fun.
What was that day like when you go into the broadcast booth? I can't imagine. I mean, you've watched baseball from probably every seat in a stadium, but that's the seat right there. So what's that, the hour before, 2 hours before, and everything leading up to the game? Like, what's that? I've seen some stuff with your dad. I mean, did you text him a picture, or what is that day like leading up to the start of the game?
Yeah, honestly, it's such a blur. Like I said, I found out so late in the game. And so I think from the moment I found out Sunday until first pitch Monday night, it was constant like questioning everything I'm doing, how I'm doing it. You know, I've worked in this industry for so long, but when you prepare to be a sideline reporter, my work is very different than when I'm preparing to host a pregame show that day. And it's very different when you're preparing to call a game. So I had to really overnight figure out what my preparation was going to be like, which was honestly much harder work than actually calling the game. And I'm still trying to refine that because in baseball, you know, I've only called about 10 games now, and it's still like every time I do it, I'm like, okay, that didn't work. This works. And every game you're going to call is so different. So you need to have different material, different stories, different stats. So it's really about just trying to figure out how to maximize my time in preparation. At the same time, I have such amazing colleagues, not just our analysts who I work with that I mentioned that are so encouraging of me, but also our producers, our directors, like we really have a full team. So I've come to realize that I need to continue to lean on them a lot for, as we go into games, and not worry so much if it's not a one-man show. You're not doing it all yourself. It's really a team effort, even though you're the one that's the voice of it. So, I think that first game, I had no idea the amount of national media attention it was going to get, nevertheless local media attention. So that was a whole different ballgame of all of a sudden camera crews started showing up and they wanted to make me the story. And usually in journalism, you're always reporting about the story. You're never the focus of it. So that felt really funny that day. And then of course, the weeks after that, but as time has gone on, I've just kind of used it as a baseline, and then hopefully each time gotten a little bit better, because just as I was telling Jack earlier with the writing, like practice makes perfect. You have to keep at it and keep trying your best.
As the traditionalist, just the reading on you love baseball. So
I
do you, if you had your choice and you were given it, would you rather do the television stuff, or would you rather do the baseball? I love baseball on the radio. I think that's, I like that. The folks I listened to when the Rockies started, I was farming. I was on a tractor. I was listening to those guys. So for me, I've always enjoyed baseball from the radio standpoint. If you had a choice and could do either one, what would you do?
Yeah, I think I started out in radio in college, so I definitely have a soft spot for it, and I've kind of dabbled in it here and there. Later in my career, I fill in sometimes on MLB Network Radio, but in terms of an actual game, I was able to do some analysis work filling in for Jerry Schimmel when he was on one of his long bike rides, and that was such a cool experience to get to work with Jack Corrigan, and just kind of, again, having to paint the picture, in television, my background, we're so used to having the picture in front of fans and being able to kind of add to that. And it really takes a different brain to create that picture for fans. So I see both sides being great and being fun, but I think, TV will always kind of be my number one, just because that's been my background and how I've really grown up in the game.
Okay, Jack, I'll quit hogging it now. It's all yours.
So spring training was in the final stages leading into the regular season, but then it was halted due to the coronavirus.
Right.
With the upcoming season, which is full of uncertainty, what is the mindset of MLB players today with this situation?
Yeah, I think for players and for owners and for fans and for media, I mean, we're just waiting on pins and needles. Like, everyone is so anxious and so ready to have baseball back, There's a lot of logistics around that. There's a lot of business decisions around that. And so it's kind of frustrating right now to watch all of that play out. I know, especially from a fan's perspective, but I think the players, this is what they know. They're very habitual in how they work a calendar year and how they plan and prepare just to get to spring training, and then how they work through spring training. They really are routine oriented, and I'm sure for a lot of them, they are going bonkers, and they're making their families go bonkers right now because they just don't have that routine. They don't have that preparation. They don't even have a date to say, like, okay, I need to have my body in this specific, kind of shape for, in 3 weeks. They have no clue. So they've all tried to just maintain, and it's really kind of a new territory for all of them. The players that I have I've talked to Nolan Arenado, I've talked to Charlie Blackmon and Trevor Story. I think at the end of the day, they're having to dig their deepest. And Bud Black always has a saying of, rule number one is be ready for anything, right? And this is anything. I mean, this is definitely throwing a curveball at you, but that's about being a baseball player. It's about adjusting all the time. And so they're just being tested on that right now. And I guarantee you they will be like little leaguers when they're actually ready to get out there with huge smiles on their faces playing the game they love.
If and when baseball does start back up, what can we expect from this year's Colorado Rockies?
Yeah, I think it's a great question. I mean, going into the 2020 season, I had a lot more optimism for where this team was at, coming off of, a bad year like last year. I think there was a lot of frustration around certain pitchers, whether it's in the bullpen or the starters, and trying to figure some things out. At spring training, we saw a lot of improvement. We saw a lot of guys that are ready to kind of just turn the calendar and move forward. We can, of course, expect a big offense. I think that's what this team is made to do. And I think we're definitely definitely going to see that. But what I'm interested in, Jack Moore, is when you start to look at a unique season, will a shortened season benefit one team over another? Will it benefit the Rockies and how they play? I got the chance to talk with Steve Foster, the pitching coach, a little bit yesterday, and he was, just mentioning how they've been going around, like, maybe we'll use a 6-man rotation, maybe we'll use a 3-man rotation with some of our other starters, going long relief. It's like there's so many different scenarios. I think we're going to see a different brand of baseball based on just a shortened schedule and everyone making that quick push to try to get to the playoffs. So that's what I'm really excited to see, is who responds and who's able to be mentally tough and who's able to adjust on the fly, which I think is what it's going to take to be a World Series champion this season.
Who do you expect to be the American League and National League MVPs?
Oh my gosh. Wow. That was a crazy question. That's really hard because the divisions might get all jumbled up. So they're going to be playing different teams, and it's going to get a little nuts. Who knows who's going to play? I mean, some of these guys have, either pre-existing medical conditions or their families do. I know for Mike Trout, he's very concerned because his wife is pregnant. And so will he end up playing or not? That's a big question mark. But I'm going to go ahead and say Mike Trout in the American League. And I don't know, in the National League, like, I don't want to be a homer on this, but I really feel like every single year Nolan Arenado is in the conversation. He's getting closer. And I know Nolan well enough to know that he is itching to play baseball, and that might mean a lot of punishment for pitchers around the league. So I'm just going to go with the hometown kid in the National League and say Nolan Arenado is going to be the MVP this year. And if I'm right, I hope you call me back and give me a high five virtually, of course.
Gotcha. Okay. I got one more, and then Jack has a good one to finish on. I'm going to get completely off. I got completely off baseball. I am actually, I'm a Southeast Colorado kid, but I've been up in Northeast Wyoming about the last 15 years.
Wow.
We had chatted with Ringlesby here last week, and I asked him about, I think I like it when CSU's football team is good. I don't mind Wyoming beating them, but I'm an ag kid. I like CSU, the K-States, that. What's going on with the football program down there? Like, what has to happen to fix football in Fort Collins?
I know it's been so hard. I mean, they've definitely gone through a bunch of changes, through some transitions, and I'm excited. I'm excited for a new start. I think, they finally have a couple years in the new stadium. You have some new recruits, some really exciting recruits that they're excited about, at least on paper. And I just feel like it's going to take that 1 year. They're going to have to click. They're going to have to turn it and hopefully run with it. I mean, the Mountain West Conference has been very difficult, especially in the Mountain Division, the last couple of years to try and rise in the ranks. And they've kind of found themselves in some really close games and not able to finish. And that's going to be the biggest deal for them, is just finishing, and hopefully that comes on the defensive end of the ball as well, being able to make some stops. But I am with you, man. I love my Colorado State Rams, and I really love when they're good. And I was there during the Sonny Lubick era and some good Mountain West titles. So I'll tell you what, if they could get that place rocking again, that new stadium is awesome, and it's right on campus. And I think it's a great statement piece when you get to Fort Collins. And now it needs some wins to go along with it for sure.
What is your greatest moment in reporting baseball?
Oh my gosh, that is a great question for sure. I feel like I've had a lot of really cool moments along the way, and I don't want to disregard any of them, but I think my favorite moment, and maybe it's because it's so recent, but whenever anyone asks about my favorite moment in baseball, it was covering the 2018 team in the postseason. Their wild card win in Chicago against the Cubs was one of the best games that I have been able to witness. And then to be with a team, to work with a team all season long, to see their blood, sweat, and tears and everything they put into it. And then to get a walk in that clubhouse to grab the post-game sound as they're celebrating and, throwing champagne everywhere and high-fiving each other and just huge smiles ear to ear. It's really a cool feeling to get to watch them kind of celebrate that big moment. So I would say that was probably my favorite in baseball.
Awesome. Well, Jenny, we appreciate the time. I hope we get some baseball. Like,
Well,
it's,
Rob Manfred said today he guarantees they will play baseball. I think we're just waiting on when it's going to start and how many games it's going to be. So
okay, well, we're going to hold you to that.
hold me to it because he said it, so you can hold him to it.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for taking the time.
Hey, you got it. Thanks, guys.
Again, we want to thank Jenny Cavnar for the time. We usually try to have a couple of these interviews canned, so that one we had done last week or maybe in the week before, and just here today, as a matter of fact, we got a little bit of new news on the Rockies, how they're going to start the season. So the release talks about when the season starts. So it looks like July 1st they're going to report to an abbreviated camp, which I don't know what that's going to look like. But the regular season is set to begin on July 23rd and 24th. So they're going to show up on the 1st, and then they're going to get about 3 weeks of spring training. Do you like that idea, Jack, of getting that 3 weeks there?
Yeah, I like it because they'll have time to prepare because it's been a long time during the quarantine and they may not have focused on that. So it would be good for them. And plus, when they start, it's going to be
It's going to be balls to the wall once they get going with the little 60 games. So now it talks about where the games will be played. So what can you tell us about where are they going to play the games?
They're going to play games generally in their home stadiums. I don't know how that's really going to work out because you can't always play in your home stadium. But it's got to be mostly in their home stadiums, which I don't know what they meant by that.
I'm guessing that we're kind of rolling into the next part of the release was how many games are going to be played. You had mentioned that earlier, that it's going to be a 60-game schedule and 40. Is that right?
Yeah.
40
or
of
around
them,
40.
Around 40 will be against their in-division opponents, which that's crazy, man. So we're going to do, with the Padres, Dodgers, and Giants, they're only going to see them about 10 times, and then we're going to go – like basically what you're going to have for the West, like what you're going to have are these little 10-game series. So that'll be something we'll have to look at and break down as a manager. How are you going to work your rotation? How do you work a rotation for a 10-game series? Which I guess it's not going to be – I'm guessing it won't be 10 in a row. I don't know how they're going to do it. I mean, it's usually 3 and 4 games. So will we play 4 in, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday day game, getaway day, and then play a Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday day game at LA? Like, are the Dodgers, are we going to play 7 in a row against them? Or I'd be curious how they're going to handle this, because there's going to be a lot of thought that has to go into how you build your lineup.
Well, I don't expect it to be too different because there's gonna I think they'll use like a normal rotation, but they gotta be smart with it because if you use your big players, if you use your good players too much, then eventually they'll get ring rust and eventually need Tommy John surgery in the middle of the season, which we do not want.
Well, no, hell, there's not. You middle of a season, you're going to have, 60 games, man. 60 games to get to the playoff, dude. You're doing that in 2 months. 60 days, that's 2 months. That's August and September, which I don't even know. I don't know how you're going to do that. If you start at the end of July and go August and September, and maybe you do some double headers in there, but you're starting your playoffs in late September, early October. Hell, are we going to play the World Series up till Thanksgiving? I don't know. I'd be curious to see how they're going to do all this. So, and then do you know,
too.
Have you followed much on what the roster situation is going to be?
No, not really.
Okay, so they're each going to have a 30-man rotation, or they're going to have a 30-man roster for the first 2 weeks, 28 for the next 2 weeks, and 26 for the remainder of the season. They will submit lists of 60 players eligible to play in 2020, a 40-man roster plus a taxi squad of 20 players. So, I mean, I don't know. I guess we'll have to get more details on. I'm assuming that the minor league guys, they're just out. So there is no minor league ball. So we're just looking at the major league guys. So there's going to be a battle to be on that top 60, I assume, to get paid. And then the Rockies release also talked about additional details, which we talked about, which you're a huge fan of, and that is the designated hitter in both leagues. If they're going to use the same postseason format that they've used since 2012, so basically they're just doing a short season to get to the playoffs. 3-batter minimum in effect for relief pitchers. Have you heard of that before?
I think I have. I think it's been in it for normal starter pitchers.
Okay. And then, as you talked about earlier, the minor league rule for extra innings, runner starts on second. Is that after, like, the 10th inning? How does that work? Like, do you have to go to the 11th or 12th? Or as soon as you go into extra innings, you start with somebody at second base?
Just when you go to second base. It's like the minor league. So they start at second base, and then they just have normal playing in the extra innings. That's the only thing.
Okay. So you're just starting off in extra innings with a guy at second base.
Yes.
Again, it's something they're doing to try to speed the game up. So I don't know. I'm excited. We're going to get some sports back. So we'll kind of keep following and see. We might do a little more baseball. We got another baseball, another man canned for next week's episode. Maybe we'll talk a little more baseball and kind of see where it takes us. So I don't know. With that, are you good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Cool. Well, have a good week of practice and stuff, man. And we'll see you here next week.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Thanks, Jack.
Thanks.
Later.
Bye. Laters.